Hello everybody, I'm Alexey Krabarov, the organizer of SF Scala, and here we're at Iterable. We have an awesome meetup today. We have 3 different talks, and we're going to start with a talk by our hosts. We have here with us Charles Ruhland and Tom Kim, who are software engineers on the Scala team. Welcome and thanks for having us here.
Thank you.
So I actually go back with Charles a while, and we got to use Scala in previous companies. So I want to ask you guys, how did you come to Iterable, and what was your Scala journey? You know, how much Scala did you use before? How was that experience?
Sure. I guess I'll start. So I first heard about Scala while I was working at Salesforce. Actually, same as Tom Kim. We worked together briefly there. And I thought it was a fascinating language, wanted to learn more. So ended up looking, I was also interested in working at a startup at the time, and so ended up working at Clout, where I worked with you, Alexey, and Clout was using Scala on the back end, and I got to dig into it, like just learning everything there was to learn about it, and just realized it was a all-around great language. I felt like it really sort of jived with how I thought about programming.
How about you, Tom?
Yeah, like a lot of people, I first learned about Scala just through reading a lot of blog posts. I read all the widely read blog posts about early Scala, and I was using Java at the time. And like a lot of people, I came to it first as sort of like a better Java, and I realized that it solved a lot of real sort of kind of tricky problems that you face as a working programmer working in Java. And then as I got more and more into it, I just realized more and more how powerful it was, and it was really sort of a revelation because it was my first really deep exposure to statically typed functional programming. I'd probably done a little bit of functional programming before that, but not too much. And basically I came to realize that statically typed functional programming just solved a whole wide array of problems and really made programming it just really shed a lot of light on programming and what programming is really about and the essence of it. And it has a much more mathematical and rigorous basis, and so it really appealed to me.
So Cloud was about 6 years ago already, right? If you can believe this.
Yeah.
So so you guys like seen a lot of teams. I'm curious. Scala is considered one of the more complex languages to learn, right? There is a lot of art and craft. How do you see kind of team dynamics around this, right? Like you were in different teams. You've seen, you had different colleagues. Probably some know Scala better, some less of it, right? So how do you kind of reflect on this? How do you see Scala really taking hold in startups, right? In kind of different companies you went through. What are the interesting kind of insights from the journey?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing about Scala, it's so powerful that almost every company has like a different language for Scala. And you can see that as a good thing and a bad thing, right? I think if you're not careful, you can end up with different developers at the same company kind of using their own dialects, right? And that could lead to misunderstandings. But I think if you, as a company, sort of set a good code style, good policy around that, you can have a very effective language that is like kind of works with how your company conceptualizes like your problems, right? The things you're trying to solve.
So where would you say, so Jorge Ortiz call them Scala Tribes. So if you look at Cloud, Mesosphere, Versal, Iterable,
right.
Can you like hint what kind of tribes they are? From Ruby to Haskell or from, right?
I see, yeah, like where on the functional spectrum they
are.
Or,
exactly,
right.
exactly.
Yeah, I guess Versal ended up being like very functional, right? Mesosphere, I think it was, less functional, but still pretty well. We're kind of in the middle of the road, I would say. Here,
yeah, I mean, there's definitely kind of a spectrum of like Java-y Scala to Haskell-y Scala, and I think there's a pretty good middle ground where the learning curve is pretty moderate, and you can get like most of the benefits of using statically typed functional programs in the middle, and that's something where we are.
What are the pain points? What would you say like the pain points right now in terms of usage of Scala or like teaching people Scala, what do you find the most challenging?
I mean, I think on our team where we have like some less experienced developers, futures have been one of those interesting concepts, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so like they're really, really useful once you kind of grok them, but that conceptual understanding takes a little while to get there.
And you have to wait, right, until they complete.
That's true. Yeah, it could be quite a while in the future before.
Depends on the time.
Well, I kind of think part of the reason we have that challenge is that we kind of want to push the limits of sort of I/O throughput and non-blocking I/O. And when you want to do that, then futures are really handy, but they're very powerful. But then you also have to sort of understand what's going on with threads and thread pools and non-blocking I/O and callbacks and all that.
And just even in Scala, the sort of monadic interface that they present can also be a bit of a challenge to understand.
What do you do to debug this?
It can be hard to debug.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we've had a metrics library. We've wrapped around some of our futures for timing purposes. You know, the nice thing is even good old-fashioned adding print statements or log statements. You can insert them into a future pipeline pretty easily. Just add like a callback, or there's like an on-complete or a and then, and you can kind of chain it along.
All the traditional debugging approaches basically work, plus some new things. You know, like IntelliJ has a better debugger with handling asynchrony and all that.
So what about the kind of best cases for Scala as opposed to challenges? Like what does it shine? Where did it make your life easier?
Oh man, I feel like Slick has been pretty good for database queries. What do you think?
Yeah, Slick works pretty well for us. I mean, I think in all the things that we do, like web app development, like being able to operate at a higher abstraction and never having to repeat yourself is a big win.
Right.
But also in lower level code, where we care a lot about I/O throughput, and we're doing a lot of things with features. Like actually, the things that we can do with features actually give us a huge strategic advantage. You know, it's kind of part of that, like Akka and reactive and streaming and doing all those things. Like having all that functionality out of the box gives us a huge advantage, I think.
Yeah, we're not wasting all our time like copying buffers around, right?
Yeah, and that's
just chaining things together.
Yeah, and that's a big part of our product functionality is high throughput I/O, and I actually can't imagine doing it in any other language, actually. And dealing with a lot of data and structured data, and schemas and data models, and doing a lot of I/O over that. Yeah.
Cool. So you guys were an integral part of Scale by the Bay in November. So if we look to November this year, where do you want to be by the next time we do Scale by the Bay? Where do you want to be as a company? Like, what's the plan for the Scala team? If you can outline briefly what do you want to accomplish?
Yeah, as a company, we're a startup, and so we're growing very fast, and we're aiming to grow very fast. And so we're aiming to grow all dimensions of the company significantly over the course of the year. Headcount, number of employees, within engineering, outside of engineering, obviously customers and revenue, but also the amount of data that we manage, and the volume of transactions that we do. We all want those things to grow, by factors of 10, basically.
Is the Scala team growing by factor of 10?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like factor of 3 maybe is more realistic.
Number, yeah. So probably around a factor of 3.
Right.
All right.
We definitely want to be in a place by the end of the year where we've got like a number of teams working on various aspects of the products. Right now, we're kind of one team, and we've been working great so far. But having a little more structure, having different focus areas and different product areas would be where we want to get to.
Cool. So we're looking, obviously with more folks and more stuff, we're looking for some interesting results, coming out from Iterable, and definitely, happy to be here, and thanks for hosting us, and looking forward to the talk.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Hosting the meetup.